Luke 20, part 22, and we're going to start with chapter 21, verse 22. And actually, we're leaving off from where Jerusalem was supposed to be surrounded and known for its destruction. And that will be after Jesus ascends into heaven. Because of these days of his vengeance. Okay, it's going to be because of our Creator's vengeance for what they did to Jesus. And them also leaving our Creator. So these words aren't needed written. His prophecy has changed. And Jesus would not say maybe is fulfilled. That he was to fulfill them. With child to children. A great distress upon these people, not the land, but the people. Not this people, but these people. They will fall by the edge of the sword. They will fall by the sword. Yep. And led into captives into their nations. They will be led captive into their nation. So this here is pretty much saying that when this destruction comes about, Rome is going to disperse them throughout Rome, their nation. Jerusalem will be trampled underfoot by pagans. Was put, I guess, I need to add the word for here. Or this will be trampled and put by the Romans. And I guess I need to add that's probably what that little is. So the Romans be trampled. I guess I need to replace Romans down here. And don't need underfoot. Bind. And get rid of this. This extra text not needed will be trampled by the Romans. And then until the times for the Roman is fulfilled. Yeah, I guess that's pretty good. That's reasonably correct. Jesus knew who they were, so I guess they were not pagans. Let's see. Then there will be these signs on earth. And this will be among the pagan nations. And dismay will be. If we haven't already described this dismay, we don't need this here. Man will fear the things coming upon the earth and the world. They didn't have the word world, they did have the word earth. And from the heavens They will see I, their son, foreman, coming on the clouds in the power in my glory. Okay. The heavens will not be shaken. I can't say that this is not going to be true, but I just know that I understand the concept of stars, so it's kind of like they aren't going to be out there just shaking, okay? So this just doesn't seem to be truthful. Behold, your redemption is drawing near. No, when he's coming to judge all man, and that will be the end of man on earth. And then he told a parable, all fig trees will sprout for losers. No, he said there is no really signs that will predict. Let me see. I think there will be these signs on earth, and dismay will do among the nations. I don't think this word is going to make it through. We already have a description of wars and famines, earthquakes, and things like that that are supposed to happen. So, and I think Jesus is saying those things will happen, and not these are the signs. So when Jesus is coming, this is not going to be. This is just not so. It's countering what he's saying. Say it's talking about the kingdom of YHVH is near, but it's his kingdom. He just got done saying, I'm coming on the clouds in my glory. This generation will not pass away. I don't think Jesus would be lying, so let's take that out. Earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. I'm pretty sure we have words like this, so don't need those right here. And he's already told them that that his are not supposed to be worried about these because they're going to be judged and go into heaven. So uh, I don't think these would be on your guard. Your hearts may be weighed down with this and drunkenness. I don't think drunkenness was not allowed by our Creator. In fact, if you were a drunkard at the time of our Creator's nation, you were actually stoned and killed. You are worthless. Worries of life that come to you suddenly like a trap. And no, Jesus is going to be coming in. Nobody knows the day. That's the verses I'm thinking of. That is going to be better said than all this. Will come upon those who dwell on the face of the earth, keep alert, and at all times pray in order that you have the strength to escape all these things. People do this anyway, so I don't see any of this text really relevant to any more than Jesus has already been teaching us here. During the daylight, he taught at his gate. At evening, he would go spend the night on the mount and had olive trees. I'm adding the word trees. I've already showed you that it's the hill country is not a mount like the mount that Moses looked down from that's in Jordan. That's a mount. It's a great big rise of land, and then it's pretty flat. When they're talking about a mount in Jerusalem, these hills come up, and then they have some are flat at the top, and that's what he's talking about here. Or they're talking about on a mount that had olive trees. Now, did he spend the night just laying out there on the ground? I don't think so. So this is going to be because we know that he goes back and forth from. Remember, Lazarus is his friend, so he might have stayed at Lazarus's place and things like this at night. He also went to other. I think it was a judge's place. But the object is uh, at evening he would see at evening he would go to the mount, and that would not spend the night. He would go to the mount. It's hard to say right now. Let's get the text all put together. Our people in the morning would come to him by his gate to listen to Jesus. Yep. Now the feast of unleavened bread, that is which is called the Passover. The feast of the unleavened bread, which is called the Passover. No, that's just a flat out lie. We know that the Passover was our Creator's passing over them, not to kill their firstborn sons. And our tribe's priests and scribes were seeking how they might not put him to death yet, but arrest Jesus. Well, after they arrest him, then they can talk about that. You know, I'm going to put in the word arrest, how they might, because I'm not sure if this is at the time when they were thinking about death. Okay, let me put this then. I will correct that. I will say kill Jesus. And they are gonna might how they would be how they can kill Jesus. And I'm using the word him here as Jesus. I'm just moving it from here to here. So they were discussing, but I guess they were not, but they were afraid of the people. I'm going to add this back in. That they were afraid of his people. I guess that's setting up of what we would be thinking. So I guess that should be added. Here they're trying to Satan entered into Jesus or Judas. No, that's Satan doesn't enter into anyone. Demons enter into people. I guess Satan could enter into Judas, or either control him. Let's put it this way. I'm just going to have Judas, who was one of his 12 disciples, went to discuss with our tribe's priest how he could betray him for 30 silver. I had to add 30 silver because he was having his want for money, I guess. So, $1. Yeah. Well, what happens when this is going on is I'm doing stuff down here and I'm just hitting the keyboard and then I don't know where the last place the cursor was at. So I'm pretty sure that's what was going on throughout these videos here that you've seen me correct those. But who is called this guy belong? He doesn't need a last name. See, we know that they've given him a last name, but he was not. We don't need him. We need Judas to be Judas all the way through. Here, yes, is one of his 12 disciples. Was one of his disciples. I didn't need to put down 12. We already understand that there's 12. So he went to discuss with our tribe priest how he could betray him for, not that he wanted something in return to betray him. Like I said, we had to build up a reason why he would betray him. And now he was willing to betray him, but he wanted to for 30 silver. And they were glad and agreed to give him the silver. And so he agreed to betray him, apart from the crowd. They didn't begin to seek an opportunity. We already have this. They know that he would spend the night on the mount that had olive trees. So I guess that's a relationship of what that. It's almost like before, because this is summertime. It's summer solstice, so the sleep out side, yeah, it's very possible that he did sleep on the hill with olive trees. And this is not, it says on the first day of unleavened bread, which the Passover ram was to be sacrificed. This unleavened bread thing here, that would also only been true like on the very first one, okay? Because our Creator told Moses what he's going to do, go and then tell the king of Egypt, and then come back and then told them to prepare a meal. And they could quickly make bread, but that was called unleavened bread. But this was, you wouldn't have had that later. They were prepared so they could make the bread ahead of time. So there's no such thing as this day of unleavened bread, but it is a day that the ram was sacrificed to replace the passing over of killing their son, that they had to give up something of their well, you have to understand animals at that time presented a way that it showed that they had wealth, but it also showed that they were dependent on this animal to eat or to live off of. So the thing here is to take something that you own and to sacrifice it and then eat it. This has always been something that people have tried to figure out the answer. I'm going to get into that later when I really talk about the Passover and all the things, because it's got to go through time and history, or all his meaning of his promises over the time. But it's in relationship to the title Christ later. But anyways, it's not a lamb, it's a ram, because they were all to eat it. So it was on this day that they were going to kill the ram and start roasting the ram. Okay. Now this is the day that they're going to do this on. And so, but now we have to go back, and he says that he sends Peter and John for us to prepare to eat. That here I've got these words, I'm putting them over here and getting rid of this. It just didn't read right when it was over here. So prepare to eat the Passover ram. And they asked Jesus where he wants them to go, not prepare it. They weren't preparing it. They were going to, the innkeeper was going to supply the food. So where do you want us to go? Jesus told them, because it was those that had the wealth of rams that they were to sacrifice as many rams as they could to have everybody, all Israelis take, or all Hebrews partake in this celebration that was to happen of them not having their firstborn sons killed by our Creator. Now, and then he tells them, when you enter the city, it's actually Jerusalem, and they followed him not to a house, but to an inn. So we have that text corrected. Said not to the owner, not the house, but the owner of the inn. Your king asks, that says, but asks, or at your guest's room. Say this guest room is that he is going to be the provider of the ram to celebrate his passing. Notice I have to put this in here because that's the way they would have said it. They wouldn't say just Passover, celebrate his passing over. And he will show you a large room, and he will prepare it for us. They did just they found everything. Well, they just did just as he told them, and the innkeeper prepared the room for the Passover. The disciples, I'm trying to make sure that you understand that Jesus didn't have a ram that they could use to sacrifice. The animal needs special care, so it's meaning the disciples would not have prepared the meal. Okay. That's why I'm saying it's at an inn, it's at a room that there's large enough for many people to partake, but it's just going to end up being Jesus and his disciples. When I'm using the word there, from down here, it's kind of like this should be disciples. And I have Jesus here participating with them. So this is how I substitute the Jesus, that he is part of the group. When I say the word they, or use the word they were sitting at the table that evening, and Jesus told them, I desire to eat the celebration and celebrate this Passover with you. but I will be arrested. Not suffer, but I will be arrested. So this is not the same day as this would have, when Judas went to him, this has to be the day before this happened. Maybe even 2 days before this happened. But the object is this day that's there that they go into this room. This is that day that they are killing and preparing their meals that Jesus is going to be arrested. So this here is, I guess I might have erred in my words there, but what I'm saying is that this would have been the day before them to eat or kill the ram. So because it's confusing. The order is starting to confuse which just comes first, which second, because now we're going to have a lot of things Jesus is going to say here at this day before sacrificing. You have to understand when the day starts. It starts after the sun has set. Is the starting of the day. Then he took his cup. He gave thanks to Ivy. And when he gives thanks, I'm making sure that he gives thanks to Ivy. Then he said to them, take my cup, not this, but take my cup and share it among yourselves, for I will not drink again wine with you. Doesn't need to be fruit of the vine, but again, wine with you until my kingdom from Ivy is established. That just comes, but when it is established, meaning that he knows that he's going to die and then, or his body's going to die and he's going to ascend into heaven and then he's going to return. So it's pretty much, this is what he's talking about here. But they don't quite understand it. I don't think the text really reflects that they understand this. And then he took a bread and gave thanks to Ivy. Then he broke it and gave it to them to eat. And he told them, this is like my body, like his body. Not this is his body. You cannot eat Jesus's body. You people taking what the church calls, or the Roman Catholic Church calls, this little piece of bread that you can like my body. Well, it's not, it's like his body. It's not his body. So I had to add the word like, which I willingly will give for everyone. You will do this in remembrance of me. So, the water, the drink here is not his blood in these verses, but it's the partaking or sharing a wine with you, okay? Let's see here. After, yeah, the same way he took cup. No, that doesn't need to be after they had eaten. Well, they had to drink and eat, because it was first the drink, then it was the bread. Then he told them, this cup which I give to you was for his not new covenant. There's no such thing as a new covenant. And by that, I mean our Creator's promises. I can trace them back to Adam and Eve, okay? But the object here is from Noah's time forward, we really have the showing of this promise. And it's prophecy of his blood. He is to suffer, okay? And he's relating it now to the prophecy of suffering of his blood, or of his life here. and was in the hand of one stuff which I give to you. And was in the hand. And yeah, okay. You're talking about it was in the hand of the one who will betray me. That's I needed to read it like this because I'm trying to read and make sure all these other little words I've gotten rid of, and not with at the table. Jesus tells us who he is if they were very observant. Now your son for man will die as YV, not as it. Here we have Jesus calling our creator an it, as it has been commanded, as YV has commanded, not determined, but as YV has commanded. Has to do with the relationship that they knew that he was going to die. And woes for that male who betrays me. Okay. Then the disciples began discussing which one of them is the betrayer, who it might be. Don't need anything to do this thing. This thing is transferred into is the betrayer. Because they're not this thing, they were discussing who the person was. Here it is, was the word who. After there arose also, well, it would be after. Those words going to be replaced by the word after. They disputed which one will be the greatest. And Jesus told them, the kings for pagans rule over them. And by pagans is non-believers of our Creator. I guess I should put that. There's of non-believers. That's better than I guess, because there will be good among them, but the kings for non-believers rule over them. And those who have authority over them are called benefactors. Not really. We're not going to get into saying all this. That's just not needed. Jesus has already told us that the wealthy rule are like behind the scenes of the ruler, and they can, with their wealth, cause problems or pay off people to do things and then kill the people that did it so they can't be traced back. But the object here is we don't need to have them have these words here. Who is greatest among you is to be like a servant. Become a youngest leader and a servant. Yeah, I'm getting rid of some words that people might argue with here, but it is, but among you is to be like a servant. For one who serves is not a king, for I am among you and I serve wisely. I had to add that he's serving wisely by obeying our Creator here. Who's greater? One who relies at the table, or one. Yeah, this is not needed. This is not needed. Who have stood me with my trials. They are going to, they just been with him on his journey, okay? So he wouldn't be saying it's his trials. So he already knows who he is. Our Father will grant me my kingdom, and I will allow you into my kingdom, that you may eat and drink at my table. That isn't what happens in heaven, okay? Um, sit on thrones to judge the tribes from Israel. Don't need the word 12. Simon, we know that his name is Peter, so we can pretty much say that we can replace the name Simon with Peter. Satan has demanded to sift you like wheat. Now here, the word sift, I'm going to highlight that and get into that later because that word might be changed. But here we're talking sift you like wheat. Sifting is like putting a mesh net and then shaking it and trying to keep the things that are larger from falling through or pass through. Let me see what the word right now. Uh, this is 22. No, let's see, verse. We are coming to the end here, so it's 22, 20. Let's see. Oh, 31. Excuse me, I'm in the wrong. I had to check because um, oh, that's demanded. Say it's only used once. That really is not the correct word. They didn't have mesh screens at that time. I am really thinking here, because there is text that says that if you deny me, you will not enter into heaven. So Satan is demanding your soul uh, for Peter denying who Jesus is over this. Yeah, that's how I'm gonna work with this text and say, because sift, that's just not, that word is just wrong. Peter, Satan has demanded your soul because, like I just said, that if you deny Jesus, you're not supposed to enter into heaven with him. But Jesus knows he's going to do this, so has demanded uh, place in all of it. So it's going to be that is what is needed here. Satan has demanded your soul. Let me see here. No, it's just starting off. He's just starting to tell him what's going to happen. Satan has demanded your soul. I have petitioned Wyvie, not prayed, but petitioned, asked Wyvie that your trust. I thought I got rid of all these words. Faith, your trust, your trust. in me will not fail. Will not fail, may not fail. Jesus saying may again here. This is just absolutely not true. Here. Hmm. I'm worried about my mouse. My mouse has been jittering around here, this video here, so I gotta do something, maybe clean the arm of my chair, maybe. Will not fail. So you will return and strengthen your brothers for me. Okay. Peter, for your trusting in me. He has more than just regular trust, for trusting in me. Yes, he's got a little bit more. That's why he's saying here later, so you will return and strengthen your brothers for me. Um, and then he says, my Lord, I am ready to go to prison, or not death, but die for you. And I think that's going to be the end of this video. And I think that did really good here on correcting the word trusting. But more than that is Peter, Satan has demanded your soul. And that's because he's going to deny him. And Jesus says, I have to think these things through sometimes to get it right, especially when it comes up just blatantly. We know that the word shift cannot happen. They don't have, or sift. They don't have screens at that time. And I'm still going to think about this after we're done, so